There are 8 million monster books in our naked hobby. This is one of them. Stick around. Hi folks, Old Man Grognard here, back with another book, a monster book called the Basic Fantasy Field Guide. And of course that is for use with the Basic Fantasy Role-Playing Game or any other old school role-playing game that you have out there. Now here's what it looks like. Now the full title is The Basic Fantasy Field Guide of Creatures Malevolent and Benign. This was put out in 2014. It's 85 pages, and it's basically done by Chris Gonnerman and various other contributors of the Basic Fantasy forums and people like that. And they're pretty darn good, actually. My friend Corey Jelnet was the art director on this. There's about 180 critters in here. And I consider this the creature catalog for Basic Fantasy because it fills in holes and gives you some ideas for they got some interesting stuff in here you can use. Let's take a look. It's a 2-column layout, really easy to read. Just plain old laid out here. It is Ascending Armor class, so there's that. I love that. Winged Ape. Isn't that nice? And it's also got, usually has all the the usual suspects. Like it's got at least it's got a dragon variant, and here's a Bicerin. This is kind of a Minotaur variant. It's a buffalo Minotaur, basically. That is pretty tough, let me tell you. And just some unusual stuff, like here's the Lorini. It's just a kind of a I don't know, lizard crocodile type of race that they're not all that vicious and stuff. They just kind of live back in the swamps and things like that. They'd be real interesting to build a campaign around, or not a campaign, but at least an adventure around, having like a instead of a lizard man over here and you got the other men over here, you got these guys as a race as a village, things like that. Mostly traders, things like that. And they've got like variations on the normal D&D stuff that they have to get around from. I mean, they have the Great Orb of Eyes is an interesting variation on a beholder because it's nothing but eyes with eye stalks. And, it does real interesting. It's still got the eye attacks and all that, but it looks different, and I kind of like it. And if you want illithids, if you want mind flayers, there you go. Thulids. Mind flayer by any other name still smells, but what can you do? They've got some creatures that, what I like about these books is, yeah, they got the usual stuff, but every once in a while they'll come up with something. These independent monster books, they'll come up with something, you go, what? Or what? That's awesome. I'm going to use that. Or something like that. Skeletons, they came up with a couple of skeletons, a red bone skeleton and a leaded skeleton. This is where somebody like a magic user or some kind of necromancer or something took the skeletons and dipped them in lead and sent them out after it dried. So it gives like really big pluses. It's not the easiest thing to fight, not the easiest thing to lay down, actually. And the Gump, which I just like the name Gump. They're just these flabby creatures. They look like big fat flabby guys with small arms. And they're another one of those monsters that have a stench attack, like a troglodyte. And so if you can get over that, you could probably get them. I think they try and engulf you. I'm not sure. But I could be wrong. And they also plug a few holes that the main book did not have. Like they have a lich in there. They have liches. They have bullets and other things like that. Maybe added from 1E. But it's a great book to get, just to have around. You know, I'm like I said, you can never have too many monsters. I've done enough monster books on this show that you pretty much know where I stand on this. I love looking at monster books because they give me some great ideas. They got Sahuagin in here. They got giant seahorses, giants, of course, giant spider, giant shrieking tarantula. I love it. They've also got piercers in here under another name. So you know this one's kind of a grab bag, but it's a real fun grab bag. And in the back, they do have encounter tables by hit dice. Not really tables, but lists by hit dice, so you can make your own encounter tables and things like that. Anyway, that's a book. It's the Basic Fantasy Field Guide. You can get it once again for free as a PDF on the Basic Fantasy website, and I'll have all the stuff down there. For print, you can get a straight up soft cover at Amazon for $3.08. And if you got Prime, no shipping. At Lulu, you can get this, or for $2.65, a hardcover for $13.35, or a spiral bound one for $6.75. I know a lot of people are fans of the spiral bound stuff because they lay flat. I'm kind of, you know, I like the fact they lay flat, but the pages tend to wear out faster to me. So, you know, buyer beware. What can I say? Anyway, so that is the Basic Fantasy Field Guide. And if you guys want to tell me about it, if you've ever used it, you want to recommend another monster book to me, you can always write me at oldmangrognard@gmail.com. So until next time, bye-bye.